due to copyright laws and difficulties sharing the podcast across different platforms, the music unfortunately had to be removed from the original recordings. I hope this doesn't spoil your enjoyment or interrupts the flow too much.
You are an Iron Man!
If you've listened to the 4 episodes so far and you've come back for more, thank you very much. I suppose I'll just start this one by saying thank you to everyone that's given me feedback in relation to the podcast, and in particular those couple of people that I had been speaking with previously who weren't able to read the book. So it's obviously been worthwhile, and I'm happy enough that I've done it, and hopefully someone has got something out of it somewhere along the line. Moving forward, I propose to continue the podcast, but turn it into a sort of a chat show type thing. I'm hoping that over the next sort of couple of months or whatever, that I might be able to have some conversations with some people, positive people, people that have inspired me, people that continue to work on themselves to promote a healthier lifestyle. And to try to just chip away at themselves to become better people. With it being triathlon based, I'm hopeful that I'll get a chance to speak and pick up some tips and some advice and some training tips from various people over the next couple of months. Ideally, I would like to speak with anybody that's interested in any of the 3 aspects of triathlon, but I would also be very interested in actually putting that out beyond the 3 disciplines of swim, bike and run. Particularly interested in linking in with anybody that would like to come on and share their stories or their advice and information in relation to strength and conditioning training. Something that I probably need to brush up on myself. And I would also be quite interested in having a conversation with anybody who is a wee bit more clued into the nutrition aspect of sports. I know that recently I've been kind of feeling like I've been running on empty. And if you've read the book and listened to the pods previously, you will have heard me and maybe read me referring to myself as eating anything and everything. And that has been the case. It's something that I need to address moving forward, and something that as I say, I'm interested in doing that. So maybe someone out there might think that they have something that they would like to share, maybe, and give themselves a wee shout out to and promote their own coaching or their own experiences or whatever in their own fields. Just give me a private message or a text or whatever way you want to get in touch, and we can arrange something. So the first person that we're going to be speaking with is Paddy McGrath. I've been following Paddy on Facebook and in the community for many years now, and I've always found Paddy to be a very inspirational person. Like many of us, he's had his ups and his downs, but he continues to push himself and to make a better effort with himself for himself and his family. And I see a lot of similarities between Paddy and I. So we'll have a wee chat with Paddy now, but I think with this I think it's important to keep the Iron Maiden theme running through these things. So I'll throw in a token Iron Maiden tune throughout these pods, and the guests can then pick the rest of the tunes as long as they've got a rock type theme. I can't compromise and have any old bubblegum pop music playing here, you know. So Paddy, you're a trooper. So let's play that one. Paddy, thanks very much for agreeing to do the podcast with me. It's good to see you. and you're looking well, as usual.
Here's Mike. Great yourself. Thank you for having me on.
Not a problem. You're still training away anyway. Paddy, I see a lot of your reels now on Instagram and on Facebook and whatnot. You're chipping away at it.
I still plugging away. I had signed up for Edinburgh Marathon, but an old injury, well not an old injury from last year, to play it up again, so I think I'm out of that. It was a physio the other night, so I don't want to be stupid with it. A few years ago, I might have just ran on and done myself a proper mischief out of it, but I'm smart enough now just to know when to take a sit back and sort of recover properly.
Is it something that's kind of has come up a number of times? Is it the same injury or is it a different thing?
Not a couple. Well, it did come when I was training for Berlin Marathon last year. I hadn't done a marathon since before COVID, and I probably done a bit much too soon. And then I just my piriformis and my glute basically. Very very sore, and I'd done what I thought I needed to do to recover, but it's alright. Just practicing what you preach isn't always the way you do things, and I just probably came back too soon, to be honest. And I went to do a bit of fast running the other night, and same thing, bang again. So I just know that I could go through it and get to the marathon and not be able to do what I want to do. So no. And
are you one of these guys then that wants to make the best effort of each race, or are you more? I know personally, I'm probably more interested in taking part in an event, and I look at things as an event. Are you more interested in pushing yourself and testing yourself and trying to get a certain time, game plans, things like that? Are you a racer rather than a participant?
Well, yeah, probably to the point that I know myself. If I went there on the day and I wasn't able to do as well as I really thought I could do, the recovery time's going to take a lot longer too. So if you're going to something, feel prepared to fail. If you're going there half-assed, you're going to be very, very sore for a lot longer than you should be after the race. And you kind of want to sort of get a certain time too. You don't want to be hobbling around it, like basically sore sort of thing. So I'm not going to enjoy it. If I'm not going to enjoy it, I don't want to try and push it.
Aye. And then I suppose then if you're coaching me, and I know you're a coach and you've got your own business and PMAX Fitness. And I know you've helped out a lot of guys here locally in Oma with their strength and conditioning work and body transformations, and you do much, much more than that. And I suppose we'll maybe chat about that later. But if you were coaching me and I came to you and I said, Paddy, I've been out running there and I was giving her Dixie around the track there last night and the old piriformis has given me jip, what would you be telling me?
First up, go to the physio. Let the physio diagnose you before you diagnose yourself. And just rest. Rest is key. Rest is, you can push through things all you want, but at the end of the day, running the marathon or running whatever event it is, it's not paying your bills. And you want to be, you don't want to be out for longer than you should be, so you recover properly, and you can always come back and do it again, rather than beating yourself about the bush for years and not actually getting your full potential. And
that's I suppose that's what you're doing. That was a bit of a trick question, because I wanted to find out, are you a guy that practices what he preaches? And I suppose you've answered that very well, because you already are doing that. I mean, you've noticed that there's a problem there. You've decided that it's better to take the foot off the gas for now, let yourself recover, get yourself back on track, pardon the pun, and then just regroup and push for the next event.
I'm nearly 42 now. If you had asked me that 20 years ago, it would have been a completely different answer. But, yeah.
So what about this? I know there's an ethos about certain clubs and certain groups within clubs, and you'll often see these types of things bandied about on the internet. But one of my pet peeves is this: go hard or go home. What sort of advice would you think that would be?
No, that's caveman shit. That's out up there with your sweat is tears or your whatever crying or whatever bullshit. Oh, don't give me that crap. should not be constantly working yourself into the ground. You'll only progress by working easy, not working easy, but I mean, if you're constantly pushing, something will give. You're not recovering fast, you'll not be able to recover fast enough, and you'll not always be able to push anyway, so that means you'll not get any better from what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So rest is everything. I would say about 20%, maybe, I don't know the numbers exactly, should be done at top end. Like say running, for instance.
Yeah.
If you're going out every time you run and trying to get a PB or running really, really hard, you'll not progress as much as somebody that, say, uses their heart rate smartly and runs very, very easy for most of their runs. Yes, does the likes of maybe a track session at a track session in the week where they're at that point they're running hard. But all your long runs should be done pretty easy. And then say when it comes closer to race time, maybe throw in a few like interval miles into your long runs, so just at race pace. But if you're constantly running at race pace, you're going to find it very hard to recover as much as you should or as you need to. Yeah, so now go hard or go home, just don't do it.
So if you're thinking of go hard or go home, your best maybe staying at home, because that's where you might end up more often than not, because
there's more chance of injury. You're playing with fire, because as I say, you'll not recover, or you have more chance of getting injured, and you're just you'll not. If you'll know yourself, your times aren't really getting faster. Whereas if you're working with your heart rate, you're gradually getting that wee bit quicker each time. Your heart rate will stay at a level, but your speed will be coming up unknown to yourself. You'll just feel a lot easier. Whereas if you're constantly bang, you plateau a lot quicker. So it'll take then your times will sort of verge to not get too much better.
One of the things that I had been doing particularly with regards to training for Ironman was that sort of slow running, zone 2 heart rate, zone 2 pace, and a lot of that was done in that type of speed, and it was driven by two thoughts. Firstly, the thought of injury, which terrified me. At approaching 50, I didn't want to get injured. I didn't want that to be part of the plan or for something for me to have to try and overcome. So what I decided to do was, I'm going to be out here all day. This marathon isn't going to be a typical marathon. I'm going to be coming off a bike, and I want to be able to get from the beginning to the end of it by hook or by crook. So the thought of pushing was a real deterrent for me. And what I have found since is that I've fallen kind of in love with that zone 2. I can't get enough of zone 2. I just love a zone 2. And anybody that sees me on Strava will notice a lot of my runs are nice and slow and relaxed. But when it comes then to something like a wee sprint triathlon or something, whenever I am challenged or there's an expectation to give her Dixie, I surprise myself. It kind of comes out unexpected. You know, we'll be running from 9.5 minute miles, and I'm threatening at 7 to 7.5 minute miles. So there must be something in that base.
Yeah, well, the science is there to back it. It's like running constantly on empty. It's not, you're not gaining much from it. Whereas I say the zone 2 running, you're building up your base. You're gradually just getting that wee bit fitter all the time, and it's just there's a lot to be said for it.
Here's another wee query for you. Again, I'm going to use these chats with people like yourself for as much for my own benefit as for everybody else's benefit. But I was out running there yesterday. I did a fairly long run, and everything was going quite well, going to plan to 9 or 10 miles, and then the pace started to drop off. Now, I was wondering, should I have fueled better for that? What's your thoughts about fueling for long runs and training runs? Now, yesterday morning, I was able to do my run in the morning, so I didn't really have a wild lot to eat, and I probably wasn't hydrated enough, if I'm honest. So do I need to be maybe thinking about more preparation with regards to what I'm putting into my body and, you know, preparing for those runs?
Fueling is everything, as I said. Preparing is everything. So you need, for a long run, you need to be fueling from the day before, even the day before that, depending how long it's going to be. But anything over 90 minutes, you need to be carb loading. So I would, the likes of, depends, I suppose what time of day you're going out to. I would try, my routine anyway is 2 hours before going out, I would have 80 grams of oats with a bit of peanut butter and bits of fruit and small wee bit of protein, but not too much, before running. Then about 45 minutes before, I would have 2 slices of toast with a mushed banana and we drizzle of honey for that sugar. You need plenty of sugar, just to hit you quicker, carb release, sugar release. Then while on the run as well, likes of gels. I used to laugh. I was one of those people that laughed at people taking gels for anything less than a full marathon, but no, they're definitely needed. I suppose I only laughed because I didn't really use them right myself. Anytime I used the gel, I was always sick on them. But I worked out that I was taking them only when I needed them. Whereas if you have a time, just every 20 minutes or so, taking a gel, and again, how long the run's going to be. But if it's going to be like a long run that's over like an hour and a half, you need to be fueling constantly. And as you say, water. So water stops all the time. Have water planted in different places. That's why somehow it's easy, it's more beneficial to maybe run around loops, no matter how boring that seems, but at least then you'll have water, because it's not going to be very, if you're running like a, say, 12-mile round, you're not going to have as much water dropped off in places. So if you're going to say a 3-4 mile loop a few times and have a couple of stops where you have your water, I find that's very beneficial. And two, the going boring routes helps your fucking head, mental steel, I suppose to say. So if you're going round and round a boring route, it can be really monotonous. So then, if you're able to do that on race day, you can do anything. When I was trained for Dublin back in 2 years before COVID, I was best marathon ever done in 3:07. For that, my longest run was 22 mile round the track. So around 22 mile round the track.
Soul destroying,
but it done the job. And on the day, on that while I was going around it, I was thinking, if I can do this, I can do anything. I was able to pick up pace when at different times just to fucking test myself. And I just sort of, it was, once I'd done it, I felt I had achieved more than that than I did the day I done the marathon then, the fact of just doing that for so long.
Yeah, so just doing that, getting into a zone where you can remind yourself during a big run of a time whenever you were, I did 22 mile going round and round and round and round. I can get over this next wee boring section or whatever.
So like I don't know about yourself, maybe, but I know when I'm running, I'm like cardboardman. Everything's numbers, just counting how many laps of this, how many laps of the track would it do to get me from here to here, and everything you're counting in your head. It's like darts player basically. Have been able to come up with these numbers where on a normal day you couldn't do it, and then all of a sudden you're freaking able to count all this stuff, anything and everything's going through your head because it's just you and the road. Yeah. So it's just it's no matter. Doing anything at all to keep your head on the game and just not letting your head go on. So you're just thinking of anything to keep you positive, I suppose, and keep you going.
And what about, I know sometimes this happens to me, and thankfully it doesn't happen to me now as much as it used to, but there would have been a time whenever I would have started running where I might have been out and I might have been going great guns. Everything was going sweet, everything was lovely, there wasn't any problems. And then all of a sudden I would just take this notion and then bang, that's my run finished. Run's gone. I've literally stopped in my tracks. I've pressed stop on the Garmin. I'm just absolutely demoralised. It took me a long time to kind of work out what that was, and that was just self-doubt and negativity creeping into my mindset. So what sort of thing would you, I mean, do you kind of tend to focus on those numbers and keep yourself in a focused mindset rather than letting your mind wander?
Yeah, by time it's like again when I first started as well, like I couldn't have ran the length of myself without. Well, actually, the first time I went for a run, I actually ran about 200 meters. Was nearly sick. Thought, right, I need to do something here. Like I was well out of shape and well out of so. Shortly after that, I joined the gym, and then that was basically the start of my journey. Mm-hmm. But then when I did start running, like say properly, so to speak, I couldn't have ran any length without earphones and running, listening to music. And then suddenly, like different songs were annoying me, and that's or whatever. And then one day, just decided I'm not going to run with music. And ever since that was like another milestone, being able to run without music. Like I've spoke to a lot of people that said the same, like this.
It's unreal.
They need music, and then once you find you can run without music, you're sort of, oh yes, I'm in this now, like I'm in this.
No, do you know what? Hey, that's unreal to hear, because that's exactly the way it was for me. I was running around the town, and there's these two wee neon blue lights shining out of my ears, and people were running past, people saying, "Well, Mickey," and calling me an ignorant git and all this sort of stuff. I couldn't hear anything. Yeah. But just like you say, there'll be a song come on, you go, Christ, that's not a running song. You know, that's too slow, or I hate that song or something. And I just eventually I love the peace now. Like I like that, the freedom of running now, and it's as much about your mental health and freeing up and getting away from your woes and trials and tribulations and whatnot. Like, you know, it's a lovely way to express that.
But hitting walls as you speak, like it just again, just as the years go on, you just sort of hit less, and I suppose the more you get used to it. I think even if you like take a break from running and you go back to it again, it's like, Jesus, that's like the first time or a few times out, it's like, but once you get to that level again, you're sort of, as the weeks go on, it's like putting in the reps for anything, I suppose. The more you do it, the less mental challenges you have with it, and the easier it becomes, and the more you know yourself, I can do this. Done it enough times. It's not going to, it might be slower this time, but I'm still going to finish it.
Aye.
Yeah, so it's just getting over that mental block, I suppose.
Deadly. What about anybody that's looking some work or help or advice, Paddy, with yourself? You know, you've been there, done that. We'll chat about your own Ironman journey after a wee while, but just to keep yourself a wee shout out there for anybody that wants to get in touch about what sort of thing can you offer Joe Blogs who's maybe thinking about tackling something a wee bit bigger or some sort of a challenge, or maybe just wants to get themselves in shape. I know you run your role model academy and things like that, so...
Well, my the role model academy is like, I suppose it's a hybrid between online and face-to-face PT, so you can... It's a bit of a mixture of both. I've got a gym there if need be, but there is avenues to, like, with people can use any gym they really need, or any gym they want, sort of, if they're not from about the area or whatever. But my aim is, I suppose, to empower people of a certain age that basically think that, or have a feeling that, like, they've missed the boat or it's too late. Social media these days especially would give you the idea that, yes, it's good to have health fitness, but it's only for young people. Whereas I want to let people know that there's never too late to change for a start, but you have to want to change. And I know that's easier said than done, but it's just, basically to empower men or women, be a role model for their family, their kids, their friends, their workmates, whatever it may be, and just get out there and make an impact in their own lives and the lives of people around them. Good
enough. We'll put a wee link to your social media in the description for this episode. Now, one of the conditions of coming onto the podcast is to participate in some rock and roll.
Oh, aye.
So, what's your first tune? And it's not going to be Bros or ABBA. It has to be something a bit rocky. At the very least, it needs to contain actual drums, actual guitars, and an actual singer. What are we gonna send this out
Well, I
with?
was going to go with the King of Rock and Roll, but I don't think that will go down the line of where you're going. So,
Are you referring to Elvis here?
Yeah.
Right? No, well, look, we can finish with an Elvis number. I know you're a big Elvis fan.
Go for some Nirvana, sure. All apologies.
Happy days. All right, Paddy. Hard to beat a wee bit of Nirvana.
Oh, aye. Kurt Cobain. He's
Quality tune.
from up here somewhere, isn't he? I hear.
That's right. Kurt Cobain's from Carrickmore, if you believe all the rumours. Aye. Okay, well, look, Paddy, you've... how do we look at the book there? And you'll have probably learned that it wasn't always this way for me in terms of, being fit or being energetic or being in any shape. Was it similar for yourself, or were you always that guy that was out kind of playing ball and riding bikes and running about, or were you, what was it like for you before you got into triathlon?
I know, I was listening to you growing up in school and stuff. I was sort of same. I was like just anxious child, and school wasn't the best place for me. When I think back now, I never got into any trouble, but just didn't do any work, and I had no confidence in myself a lot. And as the years went on, I was never in any shape at all, and too embarrassed nearly to start to do anything about it. And education back then wasn't great either. Education within regards to like food that you should be eating or what you should be doing to try and get fit.
Yeah,
I suppose when I was at school. So it was just as the years were going on, it was snowballing. I was getting, in my own head, I felt I was getting more left behind. And it was late on in years before I actually started trying to do something about it. But as a kid I was anxious and I wouldn't say depressed, but I was just, it wasn't a happy place with regard to self-belief. Didn't have much, and as years went on then, as I say, when I suppose teenagers start out and about drinking, and that's when the fun started. That's where I found confidence. A fake kind of confidence, suppose to speak. So just once you started drinking as a kid, like as a teenager, say 16, 17, I was like every weekend then, and then that was my life then, and that was going to be. I couldn't wait till I was like a 40 or 50-year-old, leaving the office every day, going for a few pints and a few horses, and going on home to the woman who it was going to be, wife, and having dinner. Yeah. And that ruined life. That was doing life perfect for me. I always thought about that when I was growing up.
And that was that's probably testament to the times that were. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was kind of the culture in which we were all reared at the time, and I don't really. I wouldn't assign any blame to anybody in particular. Our parents would have done what was expected of them and done their best to put bread on the table and do that. And it was the natural transition, wasn't it? From boyhood into the teenage years, and everybody was sampling cigarettes and smoking and drinking cans of beer and.
I would say that there was no nowadays there is jobs out there for everything, whereas when we were at school it was you either go to college and get yourself in a load of debt and come out of it and get an office job, or else get a trade. And if you're stupid, you go and get a trade. I remember there was a guy in school. His dream was to be a lorry driver. And when he said this one day in ROA or whatever class it was, in our careers class, whatever, he said that to one of the teachers, and the teacher beat him for a start. Just laughed at him, laughed at his face from that day on. He was always laughed at for wanting to be a lorry driver. That man was fucking, I think he's nearly multi-millionaire. He filled out his dream. He was a lorry driver for years, and now he's made his living.
But isn't it amazing how things used to be? Do you know what I mean? Because it's great that one ended with a happy end, in that he showed them. He exercised he thought, well, I'll show them, and away he went, and he made a success of things. But whenever you're kind of feeling that you're useless or you're put down or you're held back in some respect via society and the education system back then and the lack of jobs and the lack of opportunities, it can really impact on your mental health, and particularly in relation to how you view yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and I know for me growing up, you know, I would have felt that I wouldn't have had much self-worth, but I would have been always confident. There would have been a confidence, but the more I look at it now, the confidence was probably more like a safety blanket. It was like a shield that I would adopt to make it look like I was or had it all going on. A bit like the ad on TV where the happy guy takes off the mask and then the real boys are there. You know, and that was getting fucking hit at school and being told you were useless and told that you'll never amount to anything, and children should be, you know, seen and not heard, and if you get hit at school you get another clip round the lug when you get home, you know, that sort of way. But as you say, the choices that young people have nowadays is fantastic. You know, there's much more opportunities for growth. It's one of the things that I found amazing was whenever my cub was 18, he got himself a couple of bottles of beer and he put them in the fridge. And a couple of days later, I was at the fridge and every time I opened the fridge door, there was these 2 bottles of beer. And I was going, what the hell's going on? Because, you know, back in the day, if you put 6 beers in the fridge, them 6 beers are getting nailed. You know what I mean? So the drinking culture and the party culture that we were reared in, thankfully, I think, is a thing of the past.
Well, see, there's more like, I know there's a lot of bullshit on internet, but there's a lot of information. If you search, there's enough out there, and young guys now know exactly what it is to do, how to keep themselves in shape, or what get in shape and keep themselves in shape, and what not being in shape will do to them later in life, whereas we didn't have that. Even like there was no, like when I was running about, there was 1 or 2 gyms in the town, but it was like places for just what do you call them, like taking weightlifters basically, just fucking like the 80s ad.
That's right. Like a training montage from a Rocky movie, you know.
Nobody else went in the gyms, and that was it. Like, but now. Like back then too, like every second shop in the town or was a pub. Now every pub closes and our gym's opening, and people always ask me that too, as being a PT. Like, oh, do you not think it's overcrowded? But how? There's enough people, and there's still like overweight people walking around the street. So until every one of them is taken helped in some way, there is always room for another PT or another gym or wherever it may be.
Yeah. And I think that the other thing that's probably contributed to the decline in the boozers is the price of the bloody drink.
No, that's true too. Yeah.
Well, long gone are the days where you get a can of beer for 35p, like.
Yeah.
You know, pound would get you your 10 regal and your
Some
chewing
people
gum.
would complain about the price of training as well, like, but how much do you value your own health and fitness at the end of the day? So, yeah.
Yeah. You know, what's the average price now? So, rounded roughly a tenner per session or something like that, or?
I don't know. Well, the way I do it personally, I don't like to take anybody on for less than 3 months. So the first 3 months, I get somebody would get somebody to pay up front for 3 months, and then after that, month on month. Mm-hmm. The reason I do that personally is because anything less than that, it takes, say, at least 10 weeks to have an effect on someone to actually change their habits and get them into a way of working that'll be sustainable for them. Whereas if you're going week to week, trying to, right, what I'm going to do this week to keep this person on, changing this and that and whatever, you're not really giving them the full potential of what they can have. So you need at least 3 months to work with someone to actually, it's like doing anything. If you're going like for guitar lessons, French lessons, wherever it may be, if you're just going for, right, we'll go here for 2 weeks, see how you get on, you're not going to get much from it. Like, no. So you need that. It's the long haul, and it needs to be something that's going to be sustainable.
Yeah, so, I think that's a good way of working in terms of, you know, if as a potential customer, signing up for 3 weeks gives you that incentive as well to see it out. You know, I've signed up. 3 months.
Paid for 3 months. You're actually gonna I've paid him a good lump of money there, and I'm gonna actually do something. Whereas if you're handing out a few bits of coins every week, like
pay as you go,
you're not really. You're not giving yourself any credit for a start. You've no belief in yourself that you can actually sustain it 3 months if you want to actually just go week by week sort of thing. So
there must be something really rewarding for you at the end of those periods, you know, at the end of that 3 month period, whenever you've taken someone who maybe hasn't had any belief and they've committed, they've signed up and they've adhered to your program and taken on board your advice, to be able to speak to them at the end of that 3 months and say, look what you've done, look how far you've come.
Oh, big time. Yeah. I'd be happier with people's results than they do most of the time. Because people generally don't realise their own results sometimes until you actually talk them back through it and show them the messages that they were showing you, the lack of belief they had in themselves. But gradually, as that goes through and time passes on, they get more belief in themselves, but they forget about the belief they didn't have. Sort of thing. So and when you're actually able to scroll back and bring that up and show them it, like it does, sort of, it brings a tear to the eye, you know, at time.
No, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
just like as I say, we were talking about like my own journey itself. Like I was like, as I say, down and out, and like we don't all have that X factor moment. Like, but it was the death of my brother that actually got me into the place where I thought, right. It wasn't actually that it was. I suppose that was the catalyst. I turned to drink again as I normally do, and I was down and out, and I thought, right, feeling sorry for me. I wasn't there to help him, and blah blah whatever. Like it was all my fault, and it was all I'm the only one feeling down about this, but I couldn't let anybody know about it. So I started drinking more, and I was working in bars, so I wasn't drinking at the weekends as much. In my own head, I thought I wasn't drinking as much as everybody else. So then I drank during the week, and then that was escalating, getting out of hand, and I thought, right, my mum and dad have been through enough, so it's time to actually do something about this. So, fast forward.
And it definitely takes something kind of seismic, you know, for some people, and you know that would have been probably something similar for myself. You know, it was the realization that, you know, I need to get my shit together because I've got 4 lads, and you know, I can't be lying about and lazing about and getting big and heavy and canning beer at the weekends and, you know, beating KFC down my throat. Because monkey see, monkey do. These boys are going to, you know, they'll pick up on that and they'll copy that and they'll emulate that. Like,
people always ask too, like, how do you stay motivated all the time? Like, you're not motivated all the time. It's just the more you do of something, the easier it becomes, and the more habits. I like anything. You sitting and watching the TV and with a fire on every evening becomes a habit. That's easy for you to do. Yeah. Whereas that's harder for me to actually do that now, because I need to be at something. I feel need to, and there's no difference. It's just you choose. If you don't choose your habits, they'll be chosen for you, and that's basically how there's no. You're not more motivated. Motivation is a fake word. There's no. I don't believe it is such a thing. It's more just what you install in yourself and the belief you have in yourself to be able to do things. And the more you work on and sharpen that tool in your head, the better you become at it, and the more you become that person that you want to be. Whereas if you lie down and just take life as it is and think, right, your path will be chosen for you, so it's up to you to choose the right one.
That's exactly right. You know, if you don't introduce a change, don't expect anything to change.
Yeah,
you know, it's very simple. So whenever you've obviously come through that period of life and you've got your shit together, you're training now, where did the idea of Ironman creep into the equation? What took you from...
Well, it was like a mixture of everything. Like it was I had only been training a few years and like properly, and I still had, even though I was a lot fitter than I had been when I was out and about. As I say, with that running about, with that fake confidence when you're out drinking. Then when I wasn't drinking at all, I had no confidence in myself at all. When I started training, I started building a bit, but it would still be in the back of my head, what are other people thinking? I would always think that. I would always care too much about other people's opinions, or what am I doing in the gym, or who do I think I am, this or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to do something. I like to say I wanted to do it for myself, but at the start it was to prove other people that probably weren't saying anything in the first place wrong, and my own head, like their thoughts that probably didn't exist, but there were thoughts in my head that other people were thinking, like, who do you think he is doing this? So I signed up for it. But as the journey progressed and the healthier and the fitter I got, the more I got confident in myself, and them self-doubts just sort of evaporated, and it was more, I can do this, I'm going to do this, and I done it. Basically. Yeah.
There is a point in the training, because the commitment and the training is required to complete an Ironman's fairly substantial. Yeah. I suppose it's fair to say, and there is a point at that where you're thinking, holy shit, I'm actually doing this. Do you know what I mean? Like, I remember sitting eating that sausage bap in the garage down in Armagh on a bike, doing 90 miles on a bike, and stopping off for a nice sausage bap. Just bonkers situations,
Like I had only one child at that time. I had only Sophia there, and she was young. So I had more time on my hands, I suppose. I was able to navigate the way around it, but it might be harder to get the time in now to do one, but it's just as you say, bonkers. Like thinking back now, just the hours upon hours on the bike, just getting the training in, and then getting back from that and going out. It's not right when you go out for a run here now. A run that on a normal day would be plenty, but and for that you need to be it's such a big commitment, both physically and mentally, and for everybody around you that needs some part of your time or needs some part of you, basically. So it's just you're never in it alone at the time. You're on your own, but you're never in it alone, because there's people there depending on you too. The
other thing as well, though, that time that you do spend on your own, and by yourself out doing those miles, it gives you a lot of time to think about things, and you can put a lot of rights, and you can battle with your demons, and you can be kind to yourself, you can be hard on yourself. There's days where you're the hammer, there's other days you're the nail, You learn so much about yourself, I found personally.
Big time.
We come away at the end of the Ironman, when we cross that line and we hear those words, Paddy McGrath, you are an Ironman. And you go home and you're buzzing, and you've got the t-shirt, you've got the medal. I don't know whether you got the tattoo.
Didn't get the tattoo, no.
Maybe. But what else did you take from it? Looking back now, maybe was it mentally, was it more self-belief as those? Did you finally put the self-doubt to the back burner?
The pints in Route 66 after were good.
You done it in Lanzarote then?
Yeah, done it twice in Lanzarote.
Jesus, you didn't pick an easy one then?
Well, that's what if I ever do it again, I don't want to call it easy, but I want to do an easier one, suppose, to try and one for time. Like the Lanzarote one's it's brutal. You're not thinking of time. You're just, unless you're top level, but it's just a matter of getting over that 120 miles over mountains and wind and fucking heat.
It's
brutal.
Recognised as one of the most difficult ones in the world, isn't it? With
that's
the
why I
elevation
wanted to do that one, because it was so tough. And
they're all tough, so may as well get the hard.
Fact to do it again, I don't know, but
So you're not going to go for the Lanzarote hat trick then? You're going to?
Nah, I don't think so. I'll leave that to Shane McGill.
Miguel's chalked up a few of them. I think as we speak, actually, him and the rest of the Uma Triathlon Club are actually out in Lanzarote on their training week. Unfortunately for me to attend that, I would need to train to go on the training week. Do you know what I mean? To keep up with some of them guys on the bike. So that's not for me. That Lanzarote is a brutal place. You know, it's both beautiful and brutal. It's very, very nice and relaxing when you're chilling on the beach.
But you know what?
But if you're on a bike,
what's hard there is 3 times or 4 times as hard here. Like it's so like you're going up over the mountains over there, and it is brutal. But you come back to do something like small, like going up the Glens, and it's so tough compared to how nice it is over there. I don't know if it's because you're away, you think, oh, it must be on holidays, but it's just that the roads are supposed nicer and everything. It just seems so easier, but still in a brutally hard way.
Yeah, the road surfaces are definitely just absolutely perfect. You know, it's
everything's made for cycling. Even the cars stop to let you away or over here, run over the top.
And there's a lot of cycle-only roads out there too, isn't there? So would you think about doing another Ironman, or where are you at with your triathlon? Are you doing triathlon these days? Are you focusing more on the strength work? Where are we at the moment?
No, well, see, with this injury, that's me out of the marathon training now, so might give it a few weeks and see, and then maybe be fit to do a triathlon, hopefully. I'll see, but I'm just doing a lot of strength work at the minute. Bodybuilding type exercise, I suppose, so to speak. But I'm enjoying that. And training most mornings, so 5 days a week, and then swim once, and then take it 1 day completely off. So
good man. So you're still plugging away and keeping the training consistent. So I suppose it would be fair enough to say you're the type of guy that, because you are quite consistent and disciplined with your training, you're in a position really which is quite envious to a lot of people. But you would be in decent enough shape to maybe turn your hand to anything if the challenge or the gauntlet was put down. Could you? I will see, if just doing the likes of, if I wasn't injured, of Omaha, just landing and doing it, I could get a decent enough full time, but it'd be sore for longer after sort of thing. So recovery's always going to be but given enough weeks, you could throw your hand at whatever. You just sort of give it a go, or even last year, I think I done one triathlon last year, and it was in the middle of, say, when I was training for Berlin that I didn't do, so I hadn't done any swimming or any cycling, but got round the triathlon, I was happy enough. You have that fitness base, and you're able to adapt to it.
The bike down at Bundoran Road for that bypass from Ballyshannon was brutal, but But it done now.
With the wind and that.
It was unbelievably hard. And then I got off the bike, and my run just felt so sluggish, because I'd been used to my sessions before that, leading up to that, were 7 minute miles or slightly less, and I couldn't run. I could run about 8 minute miles, and it just felt so slow. But I know to some people that's comfortably fast for them, but it's just in your own head when it's not the pace you think you can do a 5k at, I guess.
You're like the guy on Strava that I chuckled to myself whenever they've posted their run and it says easy miles, and they're 7.5 minute miles, and I'd be going, holy shit, that's me giving her Dixie on 5k, you know what I mean? Well, deadly stuff. Paddy, what about another tune? What have you got? What do you think?
For a wee bit of ZZ Top, Lagrange, or how's that he said?
That'll do, lovely. Alright, Paddy, I'm just thinking there, that beard of yours you'd need to grow it out a bit to be competing with them ZZ Top boys.
No. That's nearly as long as my hair.
Hey, just want to go back and pick up on something that you mentioned earlier. It's something that's quite close to my heart too, and it's the idea that you're never too old to start. It's something I genuinely believe now that I can do anything. Yeah. Having turned my life around and changed things up and completed the Ironman. The Ironman for me cemented everything, and it was the proof in the pudding and the cherry on the top of the cake, or whatever way you want to put it. But there's a process involved in getting to that, and I guess that's where you're really you're pretty focused on that, and you take a lot of pride and take a lot of pleasure in seeing people progressing. What about that guy who says, Paddy, you've got the genetics, you've got the gym, you've got this, that and the other, I'll never be able to do that. I can't do that. What do you say to that guy?
I was that guy, but how I changed how I spoke to myself, I suppose, changed all that. So that's what I try to drive towards people now, is just negative self-talk. If you are constantly talking yourself down, you're going to be down. How you talk to yourself is everything. What you can look at yourself and say to yourself in the mirror is how you will progress through life. So if you're constantly going to talk down, you're never going to achieve what is possible. But everything is possible to everyone to a point. So I would just tell that guy to think about how he speaks to himself for a start, and unless you sign up for something as mad as that, you're never going to do it. But yeah, just think about
There's something to be said for that kind of psychology in terms of the self-talk, and I think you touched on it earlier as well when you talked about just getting into habits and getting into routines, and we can just get quite comfortable in our uncomfortableness, if that makes sense. So we feel that the challenge is too great, or the effort is too great, and the rewards are too far away, and we just become, and we can be, and I know I'm able to say this because I'm referring to myself. I did and was comfortable being that lazy get.
Yeah.
And it took something to light a fire under my ass to get me off the couch and to get after it. And part of that was really, I love a quote, and one of my favourite ones was, why be a sheep if you can be the wolf?
Yeah.
And there's a great lesson to be learned in that, and that's just about being by yourself and being alone and being the apex predator, being the animal, getting after it,
Yeah.
Or follow the flock and just exist.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's important to think, like, how do you act when no one else is around? Or is it all for show in front of people, or are you still that same person that you're showing out when there's nobody else about to show? And putting in the reps again, like, everything is hard if you've never done it. So again, with everything, it's not like you just suddenly wake up someday and do an Ironman. It's not suddenly like a footballer wakes up someday and becomes a world-class player. It's putting reps in through the years, through the days, weeks, months and years, and fine-tuning them wee things, just as the quote, so 1% better every day. But yeah, it's just not a matter of automatically becoming great at something, but getting that wee bit better within yourself. And self-talk, as I spoke of there, has a big, massive impact on that. Is the more you can bum yourself up, and the more influence you'll have in your own life to be that better person, I suppose.
Aye. No, that makes sense. Yeah, that's sound advice. Like, the other thing that I was thinking there, just whenever we were chatting about all that, was the idea of, putting yourself out there for yourself, where you have to maybe address a truth, your own truth, and it's very uncomfortable at times being truthful with yourself, like really truthful with who you think you are and the way that you talk to yourself. Because if you do have any doubts or negativity, it's very, very difficult to address that, because you would rather ignore that and portray yourself to others as a better person than to admit or to own your own faults or shortcomings, and I talk about elements within ourselves, like the good, the bad, and the ugly. We all have good parts, bad parts, and ugly parts, and it's about owning those, and acknowledging that they're there, but doing the things that makes us feel better, doing the good and moving towards the good, and incorporating those things into our routines over time that will chip away and eventually outweigh the bad and the ugly.
Yeah.
So the habit forming thing would be to, do the things that make you feel nice, that make you feel fresh, that make you feel relaxed and at peace, and do more of that. The things that make you feel bad about yourself or guilty or ashamed or worthless or whatever, you move away from those things and you try to migrate towards a healthier habits.
Yeah.
The other thing as well, you don't, if you've been in a mindset for 20 years, you're not going to outdo that in 20 days.
Well, that's it. Like, so say someone that's all they want to do is, if you just want to lose a few pounds, first of all, you need to have a why. Just wanting to lose weight isn't a good enough reason. There has to be a reason why you want to lose that weight, whether it's to be a better role model for your kids, to be able to maybe play football out in the garden with them, or just show them a better lifestyle. But if it's taking you, if you're 40 or 50, whatever, and you've been overweight for as long as it's a lot of people just expect to sign up for a program and within a couple of weeks all of a sudden you're going to be able to do something that they haven't been able to do. So
18 stone, the Baywatch model in 6 weeks.
It's just been having the realisation that it will take time, though not the same thing, but it will take time to suppose harness the mindset to be that person that you want to be. But you can get that in your head first before you become that person. If you act towards being that person that you don't want to be, or being the person that you want to be rather than the person that you're driving towards at the minute, you will get there a lot quicker. But again, it will take time and perseverance and some uncomfortable days and some uncomfortable truths, but you will get there.
Isn't it amazing how much effort and onus that we'll put on making ourselves appear to be better people for everybody else's benefit?
Yeah.
We will show up over and over again and solve problems and get into fights and get into battles with other people and campaign on their behalf and try to do them favours, but we'll not show up for ourselves.
Yeah, so true. It's it seems, suppose it's in a way it probably feels selfish to be showing up for yourself, but if you're constantly trying to give out of an empty cup to others around you, you're not going to be fit to give like your kids what they need, or your family what they need, your friends, your workmates, whatever it may be. Whereas if you're sharing from a full cup, the cup of love for yourself and training for yourself, eating right for yourself, doing everything you need to be to be a better person, you're going to be able to give them a lot more and a lot more fulfillment as well in that.
No, that's great to hear that, and it's one of the things that you said there was, and this is something that I've picked up on a lot, and something that I had to challenge myself too, was the idea of it feels selfish. When something feels selfish, it automatically will come with another negative emotion, which is guilt.
Yeah.
So rather than thinking about I'm being selfish, or in order for me to better myself, I need to be selfish, if you change the word selfish to protective, then that's a very, very different mindset.
Definitely.
If you're able to say, well, it's very selfish of me because I need to have all these time, I need to take time out away from my family, and I need to take time out to focus on diet, and I need to do this, that and the other. If you're saying that that's selfish, then you're less likely to go towards that, because you're going to keep yourself in the same loop.
Yeah.
Whereas if you acknowledge that that's actually protective, that it's strengthening you, that it's making you a better person, and when you're stronger and better and in that mindset, then you've got so much more to give to yourself and to your family. You're in such a better place.
Well, I've had conversations with a lot of people who say they don't have the time for the training because they have their kids in the evening. But if you're giving yourself no time at all, you have more chance of the longevity. I don't let me speak down, but you're save health benefits later on in life, so to speak. So if you're working on yourself now, there's less chance of maybe having a heart attack or diabetes or wherever it may be, and then your kids are going to be looking on, oh, why did you not do that, or do that to help yourself, or whatever. So blaming, that's an excuse really. Blaming your kids for you not having the time is not. I don't call that an excuse. You've always got, no matter what, if you look back on your week, there will have been 2 hours where you could have worked on yourself. And that's
without a doubt.
All you need. Yes, you need 2 hours in a week minimum is all you need to work on yourself, and it's everybody has it. There's people out there with loads of kids working businesses and smashing it, and they're best shape they've ever been in. And
they're making that time. They're having a look at their schedule. They're looking at their timetable. They're breaking up their day into chunks, and they're going, well, there's a space there.
Yeah. And a lot of times too, when people say, they need to spend it with their kids, are they actually spending it with their kids, or are they sitting on their phone when their kids are frittering about the room?
Aye, well, that's it, Aye, yeah. Is that a meaningful engagement?
Yeah.
And one of the driving factors for me, and I remember this, looking out the kitchen window at the boys playing football in the backyard, and the lads were asking me to come out. But I would make myself busy in the kitchen. I'd get the dishcloth out, and start doing the worktops and whatnot, knowing that at 7 o'clock it's their bedtime. So I would time it. So I would go out at 10 to 7 and say, right lads, just a wee quick kickabout here, because in 10 minutes it's time to come in for bed. I'm not talking whenever the boys were running wee toots.
Yeah.
But I mean that was, whenever I sat back and looked at that and analysed that, I thought, isn't it a crying shame that I can't go out there with them lads and kick ball with them for half an hour? Now, right now at 50 years of age, I'm last man standing. Do you know what I mean? Which is absolutely unreal. Come on, we've another 45 minutes to go. But it's you do have time. You will have time. If you want something bad enough, you'll find a way. Otherwise, you'll find an excuse. But that's real good old chat, hey? And I took a wild lot from that, and I hope other people have taken something from that too. Just give everybody a wee shout out if anybody needs to get in touch with you or wants to get in touch with you just for some advice or to link in with you about your coaching programs. Give yourself a wee shout out there.
I suppose check social media. I suppose the Instagram page, Paddy McGrath, PMax Fitness, probably the best line of way to get in touch, or Facebook, same thing. So,
good stuff.
Yeah.
Paddy, it's been a pleasure.
Good man, Mick.
Gentleman.
Thank you for having me.
What are we going to sign off with? What quality tune are you going to sign off to? You mentioned Elvis earlier.
Go for it. Go for an Elvis one, sure. Bit of Burning Love.
Good man, Paddy.
Good man, Mike.
Take care.